He didn't keep his money in the bank.
And a couple of jars in the shipbox still on top of it.
Knowing where the money was, the travelers hit him again with a more sophisticated scam. Posing as Social Security workers promising to raise his benefits, they pretended to give Boyles a checkup, diverting him long enough for another traveler to sneak in and steal his life savings.
It didn't take him but a few minutes. I don't reckon more than 10 minutes to get it and get out with it.
And they got $70,000.
Was that all the money you had?
That was all I had.
And they got it all?
Got it all.
But Boyles was sharper than they thought. He remembered a fancy Thunderbird that the police traced right back to Murphy Village.
Why is it that travelers' crime doesn't get more attention?
Most of them look at it as a single incident. They don't understand that this thing is a continuing criminal enterprise.
A criminal enterprise headquartered here in this 4-square-mile area, where the village folds in around it, where nobody snitches, and only rarely does anyone ever talk.
How many Irish travelers who commit a crime actually go to jail every year?
I can count on one hand the number that I know that are actually gone to jail.
Why? Police say when things get really bad, the travelers bring in this man, William Sebastian Moore. James Boyles' case is typical. Local Sheriff Randy Blackman had a signed confession when Moore arrived at his door.
Sebastian Moore came all the way from Mississippi to this little town?
That's correct.
Moore is an attorney who boasts he has handled 200 or 300 cases and only one traveler has gone to jail. The deal? A full refund, no jail time.
$55,000 was brought in my office by the attorney in a large brown paper bag.
A paper bag? A brown bag full of money?
That's correct.
Boyles' life savings is now in the bank. The travelers walked out with probation.
Nothing would have done my heart any better than to put them in jail for 10 to 15, 20 years. But not near as good as it did me to be able to return Mr. Ball's life savings back to him. Here's a fax from Georgia.
But Sergeant Kessler was determined to lock up a few travelers as well as get victims' money back. So he decided to fight a con with one of his own. He placed a call to Sebastian Moore.
His nickname is the Fixer. That is what he's known as. He fixes whatever the travelers get in trouble for.
Kessler told the Fixer if he would bring in his client, they could strike a deal.
I told him the truth. I said, Mr. Moore, I need your client to come in. I need to walk him through our jail. I need to process him, take fingerprints, photos.
But what he didn't say was that he had a whole lot of cases against Mug Sherlock, a fistful of warrants for his arrest.
And Mr. Moore looked at me and said he's 69 years old and that he had never been scammed like he felt I scammed him in his career.
Mug Sherlock was charged with theft by deception, robbery, and racketeering. Kessler hopes to send a strong message to the travelers by putting him behind bars for a long time. So Sherlock's family had to go back to Murphy Village without him. His attorney, the Fixer, walking just a little slower than before. But life in traveler families goes on. The day after police walked Mug Sherlock into jail,
As the father was in Atlanta being arrested, the son was in the suburbs of Birmingham doing the same crime and taking an elderly victim for $7,000.
the tradition continues.
When we return, travelers set a mouse